with liberty and justice for all.
So I'll try to guide you through the, like, which packet. Most of it is the last meeting packet that you're gonna get your information from. I kind of combined mine so that I know what I was doing, but when you think about, I should have marked it or something. So, we have everybody here except for Carrie, who is not going to be able to make it. We don't have any public to speak. And, we have upcoming meetings and events, and I'll let you guys, because we have such a minutes of the June 24th meeting. The motion would be in order to accept
I'll
those.
make a motion to accept the meeting 24th, 2026 meeting minutes.
The motion's made by Courtney, seconded by Fran. Any discussion, corrections, additions? All those in favor? Opposed? We already recognize there is no public. There's a lot of upcoming stuff. It's the beginning of the school year, so of course, So we will go on to our presentation on safe school climate and equity report.
Just give me a second there. Just
That's in your information. Yeah, it's the yellow pages.
It's in the first, it's in the large packet.
Having me. I'm glad to be here. I was already telling you about this in July, so I'm glad to be here tonight. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Cheryl Gustafson. I'm the School and Equity Director here at East Windsor Public Schools. I'm just going to talk really quickly about how the work that we are doing aligns with the strategic plan and the Portrait of the Graduate. Truly, school climate work and the Portrait of the Graduate are in many cases one and the same. Literally, the SEL skills that we focus on are self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, responsible decision-making, and relationship skills. All those things are highlighted in the Portrait of the Graduate, and they really are the framework and backbone of what we do in our school climate and equity work here in East Windsor. I want to take the time this evening to really focus in on the school climate initiatives that we have had in place over the past year. This is kind of a year in review as we boot up for the coming school year. Much of last year has really focused on implementing the new school climate policy that the state of Connecticut passed in legislation in 2023. You folks actually passed the policy last July, the new safe school climate policy, and also the restorative practices response policy that was prescribed by this legislation. So that part's already done. I'm going to talk about these initiatives, but you'll find, I think, that a lot of the things that were prescribed by this new safe school climate policy, we were already doing. We were already doing pretty well. So I spent a lot of time consulting with the school climate office at the state. And when this legislation rolled out, they were actually very confident that we were in a very good place in terms of what was prescribed. So just to speak to some of those categories, policy adoption, you already took care of that last year. We've implemented our safe school climate policy and our restorative practices response policy. Personnel, we already had that in place. We had a safe school climate coordinator, which is yours truly. And we have a safe school climate specialist at each and every building, which was prescribed by this current legislation. We already had that in place, and they codified that in the most recent safe school climate legislation. Training requirements, we had all three in place. So the training requirements prescribed schools to implement at least one of the following: restorative practices training, social emotional learning training for staff, or evidence-based practices, intervention practices. We were doing all three of those things. Every year, our new staff gets trained in restorative practices and SEL. And also, and that's embedded in our MTSS work as well, the SEL training that all of our staff get. And the evidence-based interventions is truly MTSS work. So we are doing a really nice job of that in all the schools. We've had safe school climate committees in all of our buildings. This year, they wanted every school to have its very own safe school climate committee, and every school to implement its own safe school climate improvement plan. We already had safe school committees in our district. So really the main key difference is that we need to really ensure that we have families and students participating, which we have taken the time to ensure that we are doing. Always can use more community engagement in those, but we have put those steps into place. Safe School Climate Survey was prescribed by this legislation. We've been doing that. It actually only prescribes that we do it once every 2 years. We actually do a Safe School Climate Survey twice a year to be able to catch the barometer of where we are at the beginning of the year, to set some goals and see how we're improving. The main new piece is this Safe School Climate Improvement Plan. That's the thing that we are implemented this year, and we're working this year coming forward on really refining and revising how we do that work. The Safe School Climate Improvement Plan really is guided by the survey data that each school collects each year. And they use the survey data, and they use other anecdotal data like referral data, some of our MTSS data, to be able to make determinations for safe school climate goals for the year. So this year, we really are following the safe school climate's standards for national standards, and that we are really making a goal in each school for each bucket, which is safety and wellness, belonging and connection, and school environment. So each school is going to have a highlighted goal for each one of those areas that's connected back to data that's pertaining to the survey or other school data surrounding school climate. Another piece that the School Climate Improvement Plan, go to the next slide, it prescribes that we have a response to challenging behavior process. So that used to be the bullying form. It's a little different now. Those challenging behavior response is really identifying behavior that is, as they define it, that interferes or is at risk of interfering with the learning or safety of a student or of a school employee. So the level being that safety is the threshold that we need to look at. Is there safety or interfering with the learning environment? So we have a reporting process. We have a form. It's a little bit broader than the bullying form, and staff, students, parents can fill out that form and it sends a report in, and we have an investigative process. And the key piece to the response process is that for every report that comes in from a teacher, parent, we develop a response plan, not a safety plan, but it's a school climate response plan. And we put steps into place to be able to remediate the situation, including but not limited to restorative practices, meetings with families, raised staff awareness, things of that nature. So we do follow up in that way.
Excuse me, Cheryl,
Yes,
where is the form? Where does?
it's on the website,
Oh,
yeah. Under the parent links.
Do we get like a month? How many?
So that's part of what I'll be talking to you about. We actually, for their challenging behavior response, we got 6 last year from parents and throughout the district. So we got a total of 6 parent responses to that form. District-wide, we actually, if we have situations in the classroom, staff might fill it out. So we had 20 at Broadbrook total for the year, 20 at the middle school, and 18 at the high school. And 6 of those were parent referrals. I can't delineate which ones they were because it's such a low number. It would compromise the identity of those who filled out the forms. So, but we did have 6.
The balance of those were teacher.
The most of them were their teacher administration filled out the form to document the concern and to develop a plan to respond. So we include the reports of challenging behavior every year. That's part of why I'm here today, is to give you the update of how many of those challenging behavior reports we did take this year. And again, really the key is that it's about remediating the behavior and helping provide education, instruction, and restorative practices when applicable, to be able to solve problems in the classroom. They are all tied to our evidence-based interventions as well. High level special ed would be involved if necessary. But there is a system to be able to follow up on that. So for our next piece, restorative practice, again, that's a part of the legislation. We have been doing restorative practices in East Windsor for a very long time. We actually enhanced our restorative practice work this year a great deal. We included over the past year, I am a trainer for restorative practices, and I trained 2 leads for restorative practice in each building, so that they would be able to provide technical assistance and support to teachers who might need a little extra support in possibly running a circle to reset in the class, or to possibly run a restorative mediation, a conference, to be able to give teachers the tools that they need to be able to work restoratively with our students. And a key piece of restorative practice is that when you hear the word restorative, you automatically think repair, but the foundation of restorative practice is actually proactive and community building, which is foundational to school climate. 85% of restorative practices work is about building community, giving students the skills to be able to advocate for themselves, to be able to say how they were harmed, what they need, and to work through differences with each other. 85% of that is building the relationship so that when something goes awry, you have a relationship to repair. So we have been working very hard on enhancing that system, collecting data on how many restorative practice conferences that we are conducting within our buildings, and giving those leads the technical experience to be able to provide assistance to the teachers. And we provide training to all of our new teachers and new teacher orientation as well. So everyone gets refreshed on that.
Michelle, can I ask a question? So the conferences, are you talking about, when you say restorative conferences, is that the group meeting with an adult and young people?
Yes, so a restorative conference is a higher level responding to a harm, right?
Yeah.
So that involves meeting with the 2 individuals separately, determining whether or not it will be a productive restorative mediation, and then bringing them together. So it's a multi-step process, but it is facilitated by an adult.
But there is a restorative practice as prevention too. You're doing that
Yes,
as well.
absolutely.
So that's a whole group. kind of
Absolutely.
talking about
And
that.
we'll talk about that a little bit with our school. So yes, 85% of restorative practices is the prevention. It's the community building. It's the work, which we'll talk about later, which is responsive classroom, doing circles in the morning. It's the advisory work. It's really building the relationships in the classroom so that, like I said, when things go awry, you have a relationship to repair. And kids are familiar with the process of sitting in a circle and sharing their thoughts and feelings in a respectful community way. So we are doing that work, and we're really enhancing it over the past year. And I hope to continue that work moving into this year, building the capacity of more staff to be able to support their peers. So that's a nice plan for this year. The next piece is the school climate survey. As I said, we hold a school climate survey a couple of times a year. The main difference this year is that parents with the new climate legislation have the option to opt out of the survey. Generally speaking, they don't, but on occasion, some folks do opt their children out of the survey. But we do survey parents, we survey staff, we survey students. And essentially, in distilling the data, there were some areas of shared strength that parents see a strength, that the students had seen a strength, and the staff had seen a strength. And those would be that it was very clear that families and students felt that teachers held high expectations for their children, that they had strong relationships with, there was always an adult that they could go to turn to if they had concerns about something, that they felt unsafe, if they had to voice concerns. There was a very prominent desire for students to, they felt like if something was not okay, that they would be able to speak out about it, that they felt empowered to do that. They felt like they would intervene if they saw something that was not right. And there was a very strong sense of safety in terms of like physical safety. They felt like the building was a safe place to be, the classrooms were a safe place, parents, students, staff alike. It was a strong sense of safety. The areas for growth is always areas for growth. So peer-to-peer and interpersonal conduct and respect, the students felt like they could benefit from some more training on being an upstander. Like they want to intervene when something goes wrong, but they want more training on that. So those are things that we embed into things like advisory. Whole child connections, and what they meant by that and digging in, it was that they felt like they had an adult to turn to, but they weren't always sure. It was more of not sure answers, that they weren't always sure if their question was, do the teachers know what you like to do outside of school? And they weren't sure. Like, I don't know, maybe they know what I like to do outside of school, but it didn't mean that they didn't have a strong relationship with them. And then finally, daily school engagement enthusiasm. The question was, do you like to come to school every day? And so we actually dug into this one with the students. And they said, you know, we like to come to school every day, but like, what's the context behind that? Is it like, do I like to get out of bed? So they said, like, there's context there, that like it might mean one thing to one kid and one thing to the other. So having the kids look through the survey with us was really beneficial, because they were able to, especially at the middle and high school, we actually looked through the survey with both cohorts of kids, and they were able to supply some context as to like how they interpreted the questions. So that was good. So when we revise the survey for this coming year, we can revise the questions. So hopefully it'll mean the same thing to everyone. We'll give it a try. But we took their feedback, and I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the things that we did this year, especially from the middle school and the high school, where we took their feedback and really did some awesome stuff this year, which I think you've heard a little bit about when the principals did their end of the year work, the end of the year presentation. Moving into professional development, I won't run through all of these things because, as you know, we do restorative practices. We've been doing responsive classroom, which are frameworks for social emotional learning, and building community in our classrooms. The new things this year is that we brought in an organization called the Academic Leadership Association out of Springfield, Massachusetts. And we did a whole series of professional development for the elementary school on called Relationships That Work. And it was about supporting students who are what they call dependent learners, who might need a little extra TLC in the classroom. It was about building relationships with parents, about building relationships with the students, knowing who that child is so that you understand the context of that child's life, so that you can be more responsive to that particular individual's needs. So it's really well received professional development by the staff. A lot of interventions that we implement to be able to be responsive to the needs of our students. The other piece I'm going to get into a little bit more deeply in the next slide is Ruler. So you heard at the end of the year presentation about how all the schools are doing Ruler. So how that came to be is year before last, we were invited to participate by Yale through a grant supplied by Yale to bring 3 implementation teams, one from each school, to go to Yale. So we all went to Yale for a day 2 Aprils ago. And we all got trained, the teams of 5. So middle school team got trained, elementary school, high school. We all went together. We got trained in the fundamentals of the Ruler approach. This is an approach to social emotional learning that's used all over the world, actually. And it's an approach to social emotional learning that is about giving kids the tools that they need to be able to understand their emotions, to regulate their emotions, and to be able to use that information and regulate themselves so that they can be productive, whether they're super high, happy emotions, super low emotions, all emotions are okay, which is the fundamentals of Ruler, but it's being able to label them and understand them so that we can be productive. So it's a framework that can really truly be embedded into the classroom. And all of our schools have provided professional development to their staff in year 1, which is the Ruler approach, as you train the staff in year 1. That happened last year. And this year we're rolling it out with students. So we're into year 2 of our implementation. So we do get offered technical support through Yale on that particular implementation as well. So on to the next piece of social emotional learning at EWPS. So speaking to the work that we're doing to have tier 1 universal social emotional learning supports in our schools. Every single school has designated time for social emotional learning. The middle school and the high school, they do it through their advisory periods. And at the elementary school, they do it through their responsive classroom morning meeting in the morning. And they actually have 2 longer periods of time a month to be able to do explicit SEL instruction with their students. And it's very much focused on the 5 core skills: self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, responsible decision-making, relationship skills. Those are the key fundamental frameworks of those social emotional lessons. And as you learned when the principals and the students came in this year, we have had students who have participated in developing lessons. The Educators Rising kids have been an important part of that, giving students voice as a school climate initiative. So we have designated times for social emotional learning. These are some of the resources that we've been using. We have not dived into ruler yet with the students. That's this year. We're going to be using this ruler resources for our advisories and our SEL periods. But we generally use the Be Good People and second step materials. And we do dip into overcoming obstacles, but there are some really relevant social emotional learning depending on the grade level. And they run the gamut from preschool all the way to grade 12. Another reason why we adopted ruler was that it's a pre-K to 12 vertically articulated social emotional learning program. So next one on cultivating student leadership. So some of the work that we've done really has been on helping to connect the community, right? The school community, meaning connecting teachers, connecting students, connecting the community at large. So we have several student groups. I won't go into every single one of them, but as you know, Educators Rising has been a big part of building our social emotional learning community in East Windsor schools. They have been really instrumental in having a voice on our Safe School Climate Committee. And they also have been instrumental in looking at the survey data with us and really helping us distill what they were talking about when they answered the way they did. And also in developing social emotional learning lessons for our advisories. So they are our future teachers, but they're also practicing. And also to not to mention, they also are participating in conferences. So they participated at the CAS, Connecticut Association of Schools Elementary Leadership Conference, where they developed lessons and presented to elementary school kids from all over Northern Connecticut. And they've participated in conferences over at CERC. So they're really dipping their feet into education, but they also are getting out into the community. The other group I want to speak to is the Youth Prevention Council. They are the youth arm of the local prevention council, which is a substance abuse prevention organization in the community. It's new. And our students really have been engaging not only in the school community about the topic of prevention, but also engaging with the community at large. They, over the past year, were able to procure a washing machine and dryer for the high school and to really stock the Panther Pantry. And that was truly a student community school climate initiative to be able to give them some hand in identifying a need that was at the high school and to be able to put boots on the ground and make it happen, and connecting with local businesses to be able to sponsor the materials in that area.
So I'm sorry, the washing machine and the dryer are for the students to use?
Mm-hmm. And it was really came from kids talking about their needs. And really good opportunity for them to get out in the community and talk to businesses and to work with the local prevention council. So that's a new group, and they've been working with Amplify, who we've done a lot of work with on prevention in the school.
Cheryl, how many kids really participate in that? Do you know?
I want to say between 8 and 10.
Okay.
Don't have the number right off the top.
Middle, high
School.
school. That's good.
Last group is Safe School Leaders. They've been in business for a while here at East Windsor High School, but they've been really instrumental in things like Unity Day, Read Across America, and the thing I've had a hand in is the Veterans Day tributes at the high school and the middle school. High school particularly, they have a hand. They literally MC the whole assembly. So it really is an opportunity for them to get to know our veterans. They help coordinate the event. The band plays, but there's a lot of community participation, and I think it's an opportunity for them to connect with the community at large. So really proud of the work that they've all done in the different schools to connect to the community. And the last slide here, again, you learned about this a lot during the principals end of the year presentations. 2 more slides, actually. Student recognition programs, truly just a lot of incentive works. they enhance our MTSS work, the incentives. They're tier one work to really recognize kids' achievements in academics, in attendance, just really recognizing that students are belonging and that they're mattering and that we see the improvements that they're making. We've had the Act of Kindness Award, which was at the high school and the middle school, literally was about acknowledging students and their good deeds. The Panther, the Portrait of the Graduate Awards, same thing. It's about reflecting the portrait of the graduate, being good citizens, good at strong academic dedication, and coming to school and doing the things to be contributing citizens in our school community. Here's the last slide. And last but not least, our family engagement and transition supports. We've been doing a lot over the last couple of years to engage families. A lot of them were born from some of the work I've done with Open Choice. As the new Open Choice liaison, when I came here, we started doing some orientations for just the new Open Choice families. We found that new to district families benefited from meeting each other and seeing each other and laying eyes on each other. Like, that is a family that is new here too. And the kids benefited from it too. Like, they could see, hey, that kid is new. I'm going to sit with them at lunchtime. So we started doing it at all the schools, not just the high school and not just at the elementary school. We started doing it at all the schools for all new to district students. So we bring them to school. It was great. We had it at all the schools last week. They get to see the school. They get to see their classrooms. They get to meet their teachers. It literally at the high school. So this goes back to the survey that the kids did and the work that the kids did at the high school with the school climate, that we went over one of the questions about belonging. And we noticed that there wasn't as high of a participation in extracurriculars by ninth graders. So we said, what's up with this? Why are the ninth graders not as high participation? And they said, we don't know about everything when we just get here in September. So Allison and Barb, to their credit, they listened to the kids. They brought every single ninth grader in last Wednesday. And they spent 2 hours in the morning learning about high school, learning about all the opportunities for clubs, running through their schedule, seeing where they basically sent them on a scavenger hunt. Here's your schedule, find your rooms. And Allison went on the intercom and she told them to rotate. It was a really good dry run for the first day of school. And we have a couple of brand new students to our district who are not new ninth graders. And Allison told me that she saw one of the East Windsor kids giving the new kid their phone number, which was really nice to see. So that just really made me happy to see those, because transitions are hard and transitions are really critical to cultivating a positive school climate. So really a great thing. And I just love that they did that. Allison really did a nice job of giving the kids, letting them know that their voice was heard. And I think it's good. We have some new soccer players and volleyball players because of that, which is great. Again, we do our Open Choice Family Information Sessions. I just went to one last week in Hartford. We hold one in Broadbrook in the spring after we get all of our new preschoolers and kindergartners. This year, every single one of them attended. So this was awesome, had awesome attendance. And home visitation, we offer home visits proactively to students in transition grades, families in transition grades. So moving from 8th to 9th grade, from 4th to 5th grade. And we do offer them at the lower levels as well, preschool. Focus a lot on kids coming into town who are new, whether they have this moving into town. So we're trying to build that program up, but lots of stuff happening in school climate. The schools are doing a really nice job of implementing lots of good school climate stuff, and it's really paying off. So,
I have one question. I want to commend you. A lot of people won't go to Hartford to meet with families. I know that, like, just statewide. So I want to commend you for what you do in terms of connecting with families, not only in East Windsor, but going to Hartford and connecting with families. I think that has a lot to do with choice families thinking they know a face, they kind of hear about it, and that's a positive. So I want to commend you for that. I have one question. I don't know if Gabby, you might have seen this, but this is from, I think this is from Amplify.
yes,
See this?
I see what you're looking at.
You look at this.
Youth Voices Count survey.
Voices
Yep.
Council. And one of the things that I did, as we kind of do and we look at things, I'm just looking at this, and there were two things on there that concerned me a little bit. And just in terms of us planning for safe schools. And one of them was a question: East Windsor youth reported accessing alcohol most frequently from, number one was home with parents' permission,
Mhm.
which is a concern for me in terms of,
Mhm.
how do we kind of get that message out? And then the other one, which I'm sure you saw too, is right, of those who experience anxiety in the past year, 1 in 5
Mhm.
reported it makes life difficult almost always or always. So those are things I just want to, I commend you for continuing to do this.
Mhm.
It's not a new thing. I'm sure it's something, statewide, national,
Mhm.
but stress seems to be, um, challenge for some of our kids. Probably the older they get, the more, I don't know. I'm not quite sure. I think this was a high school survey. I'm not sure.
Yes, I don't recall what the response rate was on it. It was voluntary, and it was administered by the Amplify.
77.3%, right?
9, 12.
Yeah. And
5%.
and this one, mental health in the past year was 77.3 responded. So it's a high enough number for us to just
Mhm.
pay attention to. That's all. Thank you.
Is that through the school?
That is to amplify. So that's the prevention council that, sure.
No, I'm just curious, like, where you find that.
That came through, that was actually in a packet that, selectmen got, and I was kind of looking through some of the stuff.
Oh,
The selectmen got this, right? I think it's, community, but it would be in,
It's the local prevention council and the youth leader, the youth prevention council,
exactly.
prevention council.
Exactly. Yeah, so I think it's just asking different questions. These are probably more directed, it's high school, as you said, right?
Yep.
And it's more directed to probably alcohol and drug use.
Yes.
And other kinds of things.
Yep.
I had a question going back to the challenging behavior being reported.
Mhm.
Is it like per incident or per student? Like if you have a student who might be causing challenging behaviors,
It's per incident.
it's per incident every time.
Yep.
Okay.
So this should grow nicer adults, right?
Hopefully.
I mean, people that are more in touch with their own regulating themselves.
Yes.
We all know adults that could use those kinds of classes now.
And that's why with Ruler, we start with the adults and understanding that, so there's 4 anchor tools for Ruler. So Ruler is about understanding your emotions, but you give the kids the tools to build a charter. They decide the charter is, how do we want to feel when we are in this classroom? And what behaviors are we going to utilize to help the community feel this way? The next piece is they have this thing called the mood meter where kids plot like how they're feeling, whether they're having high energy and pleasantness. They're like plotting how they feel. So it's a tool that teachers can also use if they have their students plot where they are, to know like, my class is feeling low today. So maybe we need to do something, maybe we need to do a circle, or maybe they're tired. You can tell if they're tired, they identify how they're feeling. Maybe this activity that usually I'd have them do sitting at their desks and talking to their partner for peer-to-peer discourse. Maybe I'll have them stand up and find another partner in another part of the room. Like they can make instructional decisions based on the data that mood meter gives them. It tells them who's sitting in front of them, really. And this is on top of the things that we do all along, like greeting the kids at the door, asking them how they're doing, being mindful and checking in with them during a lesson. Like these are all things that are embedded, but this is in addition to. But the anchor tools, the mood meter, there's another tool that's called the meta moment, which is to help kids like label their feelings and to be able to choose a strategy to help them like regulate themselves. So it's to give a strategy, but the teachers learn it first so that we can understand how our feelings and our moods and our emotions can impact life in the classroom. I used an example of when I was an assistant principal. If I was having a really hard day, like I would wear my heart on my sleeve sometimes. And when I became more aware of how that might impact other people, I was more mindful of it. And I would, use whatever strategies I needed to be able to be my best self as the assistant principal of a school. So it's kind of like, those are some of the strategies that we're implementing, but think having student voice has been really key in our school climate work this year, and it's growing.
I have a question, actually. Betsy, that report that you had, how often does that come out? Do you know?
Every 2 years.
Every 2 years?
Yep.
Okay.
I know other communities do it too, like Enfield does it.
Is it possible for us to get that?
Sure.
Just because I would like, I mean, if the Board of Selectmen had a presentation on it, I would like us to have the same information.
Yeah, and I think in terms of that one, I would want to connect with Amplify and have them present that information since they are the administrators of that.
Very much like to see that.
Yep.
Just make sure that we're all on the same page with
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments?
Thank you. I went a little longer than I.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
That's my concern too.
That might do with financial result, I to that to.
Yeah. Yeah, that's comfortable. It's just few.
So, it might be different. There's this one, too. I don't know why ours is different.
I mean, I don't know.
Maybe I had it.
That was after mine was printed and it said,
Yeah, but what's
the rest of the board has.
Yes. And it will be one.
Okay, so there's a 5. So, I think we have time to do, superintendent's report and the financial report, and then we will go to new business. I'll need a motion after. So,
Yeah, so I mean, not a ton to report on the summer right now, but I could share that this has been a productive last 3 days. This past Monday, so 2 days ago, we welcomed our staff back with our annual district-wide convocation. All staff started in the morning in their individual buildings for the first couple of hours before transitioning to the high school. And then once they transitioned to the high school, we used it as an opportunity to come together as one school district community. We welcomed new staff members. We recognized employees who have reached important milestones in their service with East Windsor Public Schools. We also utilized it as an opportunity to celebrate our paraprofessional of the year, which came to our board previously. That was Cecilia Rosa. And then also our teacher of the year, Amy Wise, who's from Broadbrook Elementary. I also used it as an opportunity to share some remarks, reflected on the progress we've made as a district over the past several years, emphasized that those results are the product of our collective efforts, including teachers, administrators, support staff, as well as the entire school community. And then also focusing on next steps with this upcoming school year, building on that progress, continuing to strengthen outcomes for our students, and then obviously remembering the tremendous impact that each individual has on our students and families. Also took the opportunity to recognize Denise, who was in attendance, and recognize the entire board for your commitment and support of our work, our schools, our staff and students. And then following convocation, we all came together for a district-wide lunch. I can tell you since then, for the rest of that day, the 2 past days, they've been busy doing professional development, getting ready for the students to come in for their first day tomorrow. And there's really just a positive vibe with the work taking place, and we're ready to really get going starting tomorrow.
do we record convocation?
We do not.
No, we don't, because I wanted to play for the board, Patrick's, welcoming speech, because it was, I'm sure the teachers felt good about themselves, and inspired by what he had to say, but not recorded, but it probably will be next year.
I didn't come this year, but I came last year and the year before, and it's a really, it's a very
Positive.
positive, inspirational
Right.
kind of thing. And if we had it recorded and just stuck it out on the website,
Yep.
you know, even for parents to go watch it and they get kind of an overview or to hear the teacher of the year, it's really, maybe we could record it next year.
Yeah.
We put it on.
I think they will.
Public TV.
Yeah, no, I would have liked to share that with you. It actually, the whole thing is very uplifting. Even the teachers, before the whole thing starts, it's like a welcome home kind of, they're all chattering with each other. Oh, hi, how was your summer? You know, it's just great. They look happy to be there, and it's a really positive thing.
Yeah, I mean, the nice part is, if you go, to the lunch, you'll see like teachers from Broadbrook saying with teachers from the middle school, high school. It's not like they're sitting with their second grade team. They
Yeah.
use it as an opportunity, to network, speak, talk to their colleagues across other schools, which they rarely get the opportunity. So it is a very positive, climate. That's all I have.
Okay, so we'll go on to Ryan, the financial report.
I did add, there's, I think, 3 pages in the front of the financials now. I tried to do a bit more of a summary this time. I know the finance subcommittee we just met, we went pretty extensively over kind of what happened at the end of FY 26. I'm not going to touch on every single item in there, but the big gist of it was the natural gas issue that we've kind of brought up a few times now. We did some more digging, and the short version is kind of through from our projection to the end of the year by about $100,000. The idea behind it was apparently the high school meter, the gas meter's been broken upwards of like 19 months. So once they went in there and did the repairs, we got our true usage. I told this to the subcommittee, but I have like a 60 email back and forth thread with a director over at Sprague. We've signed paperwork to get more data from Eversource. They're working on possible credits or solutions and things like that, just because obviously one, it threw our FY 26 a little off. And then the problem is the period of time when it was broken, the FY 26 projections that I get from them was off, which then means the 27 is probably low. So again, he's working on some things, Eversource are working on some things. So hopefully I'll have some solutions to bring to you guys. So hopefully we won't have to absorb as big of an overage in FY 27. But that was one of the that was the biggest driver for end of FY 26. The other big thing in there was the Hartford Choice League, which I think we had discussed a few times, where Hartford had went back to FY 23, I think it was, trying to get money back from previously audited years. We made the decision to pay it. So we got the over, $500,000 that they owed us for FY 26 to make sure we were good for the year. So, the loss of revenue there, the natural gas revenue, there was a number of, I think FMLA and some vacancies or not vacancies, people going out at the end of the year. So we had some higher substitute costs too, but for the most part, we were pretty close on all the other lines for the projection. The kind of result of that, and I do have it in the summary there, but basically instead of having 375,000 budgeted for the 2% fund for FY 27, where we ended in 26, while still to the positive, we wouldn't have as much in the 2% fund. So it would leave us with about 205,000 to offset the current year now, FY 27, that we just started. basically the kind of net result of that is instead of having kind of a larger reserve if we have an unanticipated outplacement, we'll still have something, but it's going to be 17 to 20,000. So that's obviously something we're keeping an eye on for FY27. Now there is some positive things going in our favor in FY27 so far, but it is super early in the year, so I don't want to get anyone's hopes up there. We're going to keep diving into it and see what we can do, but that's kind of the end of FY26, beginning of FY27 picture. Again, I have a bunch of details in here. I showed like certain lines, like where they varied from our projections to the end of the year and some explanations, but if you guys have any specific questions, I'm happy to answer them.
So that's our responsibility. The meter is our responsibility.
Unfortunately, the positive spin, I guess, is that they're not going back for a rebuild. So, I mean, essentially we got 19 months of almost a zero bill. So, I mean, they're not going to go back for that. I am working on getting credits from Sprague because there's a bit of a discrepancy because we were getting charged a delivery fee based on a production fee, but nothing was being produced. So it's a big thing, as far as this email thread. I got a lot of people involved. So again, as soon as I know something, I will let you guys know, but we are working on, again, if they can do credits or some sort of reval or something for FY27, just because obviously it's, we don't want to be that far off in 27.
Yeah, I mean, to provide a little bit further context too, I mean, we were receiving a bill the entire time. Obviously, it was just far lower than it should be. It was actually our accounts payable person who, upon her research, matching up the invoices, established that there was something off going on. So it was us that identified that something was off, which then led to bring it to Kyle's attention, which then, continued to, so it was discovered by us and it was initiated by us as well to them saying there's something off here. Obviously not realizing it was going to lead to, a difference of what it ended up being. Yeah, I mean, at some point it would have caught up. It would have caught up.
Basically, they're gonna be.
And then referring to the Hartford special ed revenue, I can tell you there was multiple, probably about 10 school districts, to my knowledge, were involved, and we were our loss, so to speak, was substantially less than other districts. They were all well over 100,000. And I've been involved in all the communication between attorneys and them as well. And they are all essentially taking the loss. There was a potential as far as a lawsuit. The challenges and speaking with the attorneys, there was multiple attorneys in because each district has their own attorneys, so they were working together. There's the laws silent as far as you go past how far back can you go fiscal years to recoup losses. And so that would have been the argument. And the argument would have been you can't go back this many fiscal years to recoup. But the law is silent on it. So, someone would have to make a judgment, and based on the collective, it was they decided that wasn't worth the fight.
Was that something that all of a sudden changed, or the state was negligent in kind of letting us know? Or the districts know?
It had to do with communication. So we caught it right away after the first year. Some districts didn't catch it till 3 years. So what happened was it had to do with your special ed costs and what you could bill Hartford. And so if you had a student that is in your district and they receive special ed services, you can you bill them for those additional. So you get their general tuition revenue, but then you also get special ed revenue to cover the cost, because it wouldn't be fair for the taxpayers of East Windsor to pay for these additional costs. And that's like any town. Well, you do have to subtract the tuition rate off that. So let's say like a student's special ed costs were 20,000.
Yeah.
The current tuition revenue is 10, you charge 10 because they're so that's the law. The law, it used to be a different amount. Ours used to be 8, and went to 10. Some were 4, and they went to 6. We've always been the high end. But it increased by 2,000. No one knew it was in the legislation. So on one hand, you received it, but they don't necessarily tell you why you're getting like additional revenue or bonuses. So it's unclear that it increased. The next year we picked it up. Most school districts did not pick it up for like 3 years. So that's where the discrepancy comes, not subtracting the correct amount. So.
Yeah.
Any other questions on the financials?
Thank you, Patrick.
You're welcome.
Did you have something else? You've got the MRC here. I didn't know if you wanted to.
Was that further in the agenda or did you want?
That's, no, it's the grant application.
Yeah.
Okay. So, we can take item 12 out of order and, we'll start, let's hold off on the job descriptions because that's less important than the rest of those that have to have motions made. So I need a motion to take item 12 out of order.
I'll make a motion that we take item 12 out of order.
New business vote.
New business vote.
Motion's made by Noreen, seconded by Betsy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Try to get you out of here pretty soon. So the first thing that, I mean, the job descriptions is one thing, but let's do that piece last. The appointment of members to the ad hoc committee is the second item on my list. So the only thing I'm missing is that number 5, right?
Yes, and that's just that way. I can speak a little bit to, it'll piggyback off of what, FY 206.
So
We're
there is,
into this package.
yes,
Yes. Okay.
and there's nothing on the ad hoc committee. I don't think, I don't recall seeing anything about it. New members, you're well aware of the ad hoc committee as well, right? Because we had some of that activity once you came on board. So is it 3 members? I think it's 3, right? Yeah.
Yes.
4. From the Board of Ed?
I think it was 3 in
I don't know,
addition
3.
to, was that 3
We
in
had-
addition?
Oh, we had Heather was a member. It was me, Courtney, Fran, and Heather. So that's 4 members from the Board of Ed that we need to participate as ad hoc committee members. Who's interested in doing that? Fran, Courtney?
We will do it.
Enthusiastically.
No, I honestly, I will do that.
That one's in.
You may not want me there. but-
Do we have a 4th? I will participate if nobody else wants to.
Carrie's not here.
Well, yeah, we could pull that one.
Sorry, Karen.
You weren't here. New members, is it something you might be interested in? Has to do with our new buildings. It's pretty interesting work.
Put my name down.
Marie,
Yes.
thank you. Jamie.
No, I'm semi-interested. I know I am interested. I just don't want to take it if anybody else wants it.
Cool.
That's all.
So we have 4 members.
Who are the 4 and do?
So Corey.
You just have to tell me where the meetings are.
Betsy.
Yeah, we haven't,
Facebook.
we haven't figured out the
Yeah.
meeting
So
schedule.
you guys all know where all these things go on, but I don't. So if you don't tell me
Courtney?
where it is, I won't be there.
Courtney. Fran. And Noreen.
Wait,
no, Betsy.
no, you have too many.
No, but you gave to Betsy.
Oh, no, that's.
No, but.
No, Betsy.
No, but.
No, Betsy.
Oh, yeah.
No, Betsy.
It's actually just the last four.
Look at the sky.
That's my
No,
boss.
Betsy. Oh, she's so stupid. Let's see, I did not say. Wait a minute, I wasn't Carrie, not Betsy.
So Corinne, Courtney, Fran and Noreen. Okay,
Are you
Yeah, Quag is on.
voting on?
So that's both.
yeah, we should have a vote on that. So, a motion to,
I'll make a motion to have Corinne, myself, Fran and Noreen be the people representing the Board of Ed on the ad hoc subcommittee.
I would second that.
so the motion's made by Courtney, seconded by Betsy. Any discussions? All those in favor? Aye, thank you very much. She said, yes. You say that so fast. Denise is saying, "Go quick, go quick." I would love to do it, but being chair of this and being on that is a lot. So you're taking one for the team, guys. Thanks.
I was just to piggyback off of that. I know you and I had talked, and it's probably a broader discussion for our next meeting.
Yeah.
As far as looking at what that meeting schedule should be and possibly bringing up, I think we said, potentially approaching the entire board of selectmen and
Yeah.
having that conversation with the board on their thoughts.
Yeah, we'll have that discussion at the next meeting, but yes, do some thinking now because I think a joint, and this was my suggestion, that we have a joint meeting with the Board of Selectmen to make sure that everybody's on the same page with the same goals and understands the other side, because we can't do it without them and they can't do it without us. So we need to have clearer communications.
Yep, agreed.
Okay. So thank you for that, Patrick, for reminding me.
Was there clarification on how long, that subcommittee was gonna go until?
It expired in August. I think it was August, July or August.
18 months.
It was 18 months, so, and then I believe they extended another 18 months.
Yeah.
So they took a vote and they extended it to, and they appointed their members, is my understanding.
They have Heather and Jason, right?
Rick was on. He was on.
No,
He was on, but he's not. Jason.
Heather and Chase.
Okay, so the next item is, for a vote is Family Resource Center grant application.
Yes, I can provide a quick context. This is something you do regularly, so even before we adopted those changes, the Board of Ed was already doing this. The FRC is a 2-year grant. However, you do renew it each year. We did revise it, so I just want to bring that to your attention. Because not all preschool seats are filled by East Windsor families. We revised it to include, again, focusing on families of need to surrounding towns. That was accepted. So we are going to go forward starting Sunday to start to advertise and market. Right now, preschool is still half day. We do understand that there's a need to go full day because it was a second year of a 2-year. We didn't feel comfortable revising it to move to full day. We started with a new grant application next year. So when you have next year's grant application, it'll include both options of half day, full day, and moving in that direction. So really positive changes, conversations, but it is under enrolled right now. And if there's need elsewhere, it can also help generate revenue, which we believe if we do open it up elsewhere, we will get closer to capacity.
So you would generate, so there would be a cost for
Oh.
children outside.
Oh, 1%. Yep.
Okay. It's a good idea.
So you're looking for a vote to approve the application?
Yes,
And authorize you to sign it on.
Yes, yeah.
Do we ever get to see the actual
It's
application?
in there, it's in the packet.
It's in there.
I'm not going to blame, I mean, the packet's huge. So.
Okay.
It is in there.
It's right after the financials, but.
I apologize.
Yes, yeah.
Sorry. I tore mine apart, so it's.
I can't give you that. It's page 72.
Well, yours is different because
Yeah. It's page 72. They increased it this year, right?
They did, yep. So they got some increased funding to, yep.
Well, I'm gonna make a motion then to approve the FRC application as it is and authorize Patrick Tubin to sign it.
Motion's made by Franz, seconded by Courtney, right? Did I get it right?
You did.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous? The next is, the transfers for the end of the fiscal year. So did you want to speak to that?
Yeah, I can. So the transfers,
That's page,
it,
93. This one,
same page.
somehow I got mine into the right place. Except now I forgot what it looked like.
Okay, it looks like this.
so basically with the transfers, spoke to it before, but when I do a bunch of transfers throughout the year, but when they're in, the same cost center. So it's like salary to salary, benefit to benefit, that type of thing. These are the transfers to kind of shore up the other lines. So say it's like supplies to equipment. That's where it would need, the way we've been doing is the subcommittee votes on it. It gets signed by Patrick and then, we bring it to the Board of Ed for approval and then I do the transfers in Munis. I brought it to the subcommittee and it got some input and we decided this way for like the year-end transfers, it's on one page. Versus me doing, 50 individual lines. But basically, I have all the lines that we want to increase and the ones that we're decreasing and what that number is by. And again, this is just to kind of zero out any of the overages. So like when you're looking at the year-to-date report, you might see a line that shows an overage. I'm basically taking it from one of the other spots and zeroing it out. So, everything looks good for year end.
You need to get the band and, line. Band is really out.
Oh, yeah, the 17 cents. Right, we're getting good. We're getting down to the penny, so.
This, Ryan, excuse me, this kind of ties back to what he already talked about, those first sheets he gave them. These are all numbers that are in there, like you see the natural gas on here.
Yeah.
That we need this $101,000 to cover the natural gas. So you've got increases and decreases so that Ryan settles out to books where they need to get settled out to.
So, and it's kind of, we're saying that happened, but we don't exactly know what other lines it's coming from, because it's out of different lines. Is that my understanding?
Yeah,
It's
No,
out.
it's right here.
These on that.
coming from these lines.
Oh, increase.
So if you summed up that entire increase column, it comes out to 343, 139. And then if you sum up all the decreases, they also
Lines.
align with that. Yep.
Got it. Thank you.
So we underspent those.
Yeah.
And now he moves it over here.
Yeah.
To correct those ones.
The ones that went over. And also just that special ed open choice services, that's the one with like the Hartford and the billing. So it's actually offsetting kind of a revenue, if you will. And then it is transfer number 4 officially. We did the 3 others throughout the year here. So I don't know if anyone has specific questions, but otherwise I think we just vote to do that. And then again, once I get the minutes there, I attach it and do it in Munis. And then in the next month, you'll see like the final FY26 ones where you'll see everything kind of zeroed out.
Does anyone have questions on any of these amounts or, the transfer process or anything?
Does this help us? I'm sure it helps us when we're looking at the future budget. Some of the times when we're looking at what we're spending.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Because we finally a couple of years of historical data now. So like I'll actually go back and, you know, you can see what you originally budgeted and what you revised, but I'll actually like dive into the ones where I transferred, and you might say like, hey, I moved 40 grand out of this one. Why'd we do that? And then you can kind of, you know, piece together a picture year over year.
What a concept.
Yeah. It's getting easier.
Can I ask about the sports fees? So you had to increase by almost $8,000, right? Was that something different? So that's on that one.
Sports official fees?
Yeah. Was that because of,
That was with officials fees, so that would have been what is the name of the thing we use? Arbiter pay. Yeah, so I did work pretty extensively with our athletic director, and I'm hoping we have a better idea of what we need to spend in the current year. But some of the costs there went a little bit higher. There was some memberships and some of the track meets that came in that we didn't have encumbered, but I think we have a good handle on that this year. So that shouldn't be as bad this year.
Okay. Anybody else? Anything else? Okay, a motion would be in order to approve the transfers. Transfer number 4.
I'll make a motion to approve transfer number 4 for the fiscal year 26 end of year as presented.
Motion's made by Noreen, seconded by Fran. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. And number 5 is fiscal year the current year's budget.
Speak to that a little bit. I can tag team it with Ryan.
Thank you.
So it's in your packet. But basically reflects the last budget that we reviewed plus the 226. So it does take into account the 226. The reason we've been holding on to the vote was wanting to know if we were getting that additional 226, which we did, which allowed us to maintain the foods teacher and a special ed teacher in the budget. So those positions are reflected in the budget, although I will tell you, we do have a couple of vacancies in special education, but they are in the budget. Those positions are posted, and our foods teacher is on our staff. So we were able to maintain that. The biggest difference as far as the last budget you saw, Ryan kind of spoke to it, is when we planned for the budget, we had a contingency of, what was it, 187,000?
187 for the 2%.
Yep, and there really is this current budget, should it go as in your packet, there would be just over 17,000 left in the 2%.
That's not a lot.
So it did eliminate the contingency because of the natural gas and special ed. That being said, we do anticipate that number will increase. It is a very, very tight budget. There are some things that could still work in our favor, such as the laptops and SIP. Is still uncertain if those will be funded or not. I know, as far as I know, the Board of Selectmen haven't made a final determination on that. So certainly that would be a huge swing. Although those vacancies are needed to fill every day, they're not filled. It does save.
yeah. So do you have substitutes in those positions, or some of them, what are you doing when there's a, if it's.
So, we reallocated responsibilities among our existing certified staff to cover. So I mean, they are overstretched. So short term, it's the best plan we can put
Yeah,
together
yeah.
right now. And so, I mean, we have outstanding staff. We met with them individually. They are stepping up. We do also have some savings on our long-term sub. You'll see in correspondence, we have a teacher going on maternity leave based on the nature, based on that current enrollment. we went down to 3 teachers because it was still feasible. All those students will still have a certified teacher all year.
Yeah. That was the first grade class, right?
Yes, but that being said, I mean, teachers that accumulate their time still get paid, so it's not like saving on a paid position, but we're not allocating for a long-term sub.
Yeah.
So it does, reserve some there too. So there's a number of things in the works. So I would anticipate that number will increase, but I mean, I'd be lying if I said it wasn't very tight. budget. But it is providing students, what they need, to start the school year. I'm missing anything, Ryan? No, I think that sums it up.
You want a motion? I'll make a motion to accept and approve the FY 2027 budget as presented. Motion's made by Courtney. Is there a second to that? Seconded by Betsy. All those in favor?
I
Opposed? Okay,
Thank you, Finance Subcommittee.
Yeah, they've been busy.
yeah, yeah. We can now go back up to, let's finish the new business, and do the job descriptions, which are, I don't know how to explain where they are in their packet.
I think they're in the first, they're in the July packet, I think.
Yeah, page 102.
Yeah, I can give a quick background. The medical advisor is the job description that's listed as part of our contract with Community Health Services, CHC. Within our agreement, it makes reference to a job description. Prior to signing, we realized we cannot find a job description that exists. So we felt that it should be necessary that we actually have one if we're referencing one. So that's where that originated, and that's why it's needed. And then the job coach and transition coordinator really are just been updated to reflect the need to have the CDL license necessary to transport as part of the transition program. As you probably can recall, we moved forward with the purchasing of our own vehicle. So we want to make it necessary that they have the credential to drive. That I can tell you 2 staff in the program, as well as a 3rd staff in the district have the license endorsement already. But certainly it should be a requirement of the job as well. And then the last one there is the transportation and operations assistant. This job has always existed with us, but it's been labeled as van driver. We want to update the job description to reflect the actual work that this job does.
Professional language.
It's been van driver since the
Yeah.
20-something years I've been in district. It's Diane's position. Diane, for those that are familiar, she was here for 35 years. She just retired. We have someone that's going to start next week, also has their CDL, has actually worked with private special ed placements, has really strong credentials. We're excited. But also took it as an opportunity to update that job description to the work that's actually being done in the district.
In the lower right-hand corner is the page numbers. And it's 105. We're up to 105, right? Just before you.
Already told they have to take some tips.
We're going back to school.
No, it's the bumper.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Alrighty,
Thanks.
Catch up next.
okay.
That's it.
That's all of
Yeah,
it?
that's the background.
Okay. So a motion would be in order to approve all of these job descriptions?
Yes, you can do it as one.
Yeah. So a motion to approve school medical advisor, transition job coach, transition coordinator, and transportation and operations assistant job descriptions.
So moved.
Second. Made by Fran and seconded by Courtney. Any other questions, discussion?
I have.
Yeah.
A question.
Uh-huh.
These positions, currently, several of them are filled. Is the medical?
They're all filled.
They're all
The CHC provides, that staff member as part of
Okay.
an agreement with them.
Okay,
So it's not a direct hire.
right, so it's not like we're gonna add anything more to the budget
No.
than these. Okay.
No,
Good question. Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. We can go back to order, the regular order, which is item 10, personnel report, and that's in your packet, and I don't know what number it is or where it is, and which packet, sorry. It's in packet.
It's in the August packet.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what.
It's page 69 through 71.
Thank you. There's a lot of them.
So Mr. Masters is the coach, cross-country coach of the middle school.
correct.
Okay. He's jumped ship from high school.
I don't think he's ever done the spring, the fall at, it's been years. This has always been, Dan Ward, or it has been for a number of years. I think even prior to that, it was Bob Langle.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
No questions? That one from Fran? We'll move on to new business discussion. Board of Ed Subcommittee calendar.
Yes, I have a proposal. So, would like to propose some changes with some of, the meeting schedule with the subcommittee. There's nothing in the packet. This is just me.
Oh, okay.
It's not the proposal, there's no proposal. No.
Seeing, yeah, there's.
So to be clear, not looking to change when the finance subcommittee meets, that works well based on the cycle. I'll start with the curriculum council. Daryl and I were talking, and if possible, we don't understanding it may not be based on people's schedules, but we would love, if possible, to move that during the school day, for the reason being is allow the opportunity to visit and tour programs that are part of the discussion with students, plays, or programs running, teachers teaching, and it would also allow greater flexibility to have staff attend to present. Again, understanding that based on people's schedule, it may not work, but wanted to at least put that out there and see if that was possible, knowing that it meets, how many times would you say you meet a year? 8, maybe?
It's
Generally once a month.
And I know there's probably a couple months you don't meet.
Yes.
So probably about 8 times.
That's curriculum.
Yes.
Is
So,
that gonna stay on Wednesdays?
I think there's greater flexibility. It doesn't have to. Actually, Wednesday probably wouldn't be a great day because we have a lot of early release days. Probably a Tuesday or Thursday, honestly, but again, there could be flexibility based on the committee.
Who's on curriculum? Oh, I am. Just Betsy and Gabby?
This telling you,
Hang on.
Fran. This telling you.
Everything that's in.
Carrie.
I was gonna say.
You are Fran as well?
No, I am not.
Carrie.
Yeah.
Daryl.
Oh, it's Carrie.
Yep.
Okay.
And then time is also flexible.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely flexible. It's just something where I know a lot of our curriculum meetings, like, we're usually having someone come to present. And honestly, like, if we can have someone present and then walk you, and we can hold it at different schools to accommodate what might be on the agenda that's of interest on any given month. That might be more beneficial for you to see things in action. And there's a lot of courses We've brought in courses over the last several years to see them. There's some grants that we've received where we've been able to supply equipment. That might be, it might be more purposeful for you to go see some of that thing.
Oh, so it would be strictly in person? Would there be a virtual option?
I mean, if it's a tour, we couldn't do that.
Yeah.
But I mean, certainly, if there could be a virtual option, I mean, I'll do whatever I can to accommodate that.
Well, Daryl, I like your idea.
Yeah, it's just.
Sounds like a
You know,
great.
because we've talked about like observing and I said, I'd love to observe things. I mean, that gives us a better perspective.
I think it probably provides you greater access to the people who are actually doing. the
Yeah,
work.
you can see what's going on.
So-
Yeah.
I mean, we think about it, I can put it on the next, agenda. I mean, I have a couple other proposals too, but that's probably the biggest
Yeah,
one.
that's a big change.
I would be willing to do that. I teach on a Monday, but other than that, I won't. So I would be willing to do that. What about you?
I would only ever be able to do virtual.
Yeah.
Timing I can be flexible with, it'll kind of just depend, timing will kind of just depend on if I have.
Yeah, it has to work
Like,
for,
yeah.
it has to work for you all, so
Yeah.
I'm well aware of that.
Well, what's the one?
Carrie's not here.
So,
Yeah, she might have a problem too.
Again, I can put these out here and then I can put it
Yeah.
on the agenda. The other one was, I know the athletic subcommittee only meets quarterly. It's typically the first Friday in the month. There's typically a conflict because Dean, our athletic director, has his larger group athletic meeting. They meet every. So we would really like to have his participation. So certainly it could be a Friday, but we'd like to move it to either a third or fourth Friday quarterly. So that seems more like a minor adjustment, but wanted to put it out to those members, like the rationale behind that, so that we could have his participation.
And that's Noreen and Carrie and who else?
Could be,
Courtney,
and as
Courtney,
long
and
as it
Courtney.
stays at 9 a.m, because I go into work for 10:30.
Yeah, so we weren't
Not-
looking to change the time. We just
Yeah.
wanted to change when it.
I could do
meets.
any
I
Friday.
think we were looking at the first one being at the end of October.
And I would think Noreen probably would not have a problem if it's a Friday, which Friday it is. You'll have to check with her.
Yeah, and then if indeed that curriculum did get moved, then we would look for BPR facilities, which goes quarterly to be the second Wednesday of the month. Obviously not on the same, but then that would also free up.
Facilities.
Yeah, it would also free up a week of meetings too, for some committees.
Facilities.
I am,
And we do, and we do need each of one of those soon. Probably facilities is more time sensitive because SIP will be coming up. So typically we utilize that as an opportunity to, we bring forward a draft of priorities with our facilities needs. And before we submit our capital improvement to the town, we utilize that committee to look at that. So that will be coming up soon. And then BPR, I do have a few policies that I do need to meet. One is drafted in a priority, and that's AI. We did last time we met as BPR, took some feedback, researched more policies, have a draft, bring forward to BPR, receive feedback to hopefully bring to the full board, relatively soon. So that's it. But
okay. Who's on BPR? 2, 3. So there's no action to be taken.
no.
The Board of Ed evaluation and goals, that's our evaluation and goals,
Yes.
that we have not done. When did we do them last? This is the one that we have, I don't know if it was.
It was Justin Martin that,
Yes.
so
Did it last year.
We did it ourselves last year
Did we?
and yeah. Yeah, we did. We've had, the attorney to help be our scribe once, I think.
I think Justin helped
No,
us
it
the
was
past
just,
few
yeah,
times.
it was Kay, a couple of times.
Conrad. Is it from? No.
No.
Oh, yeah, what was
Nick
his name?
Caruso.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And then last year we did it ourselves. And I think we can do it ourselves. But we would need our evaluation, that from last year.
Yeah, so I mean, so I have kind of like the short survey that you did anonymously, I think 2 years ago. I don't know if the board felt that was helpful
Yeah.
to use it as a reflection tool to guide conversation. So basically what the process was, it was a short, like Google Forms. It was mostly multiple choice with some short answer. It was anonymous, and then, the total of the results were used as like essentially talking points to reflect. And then, the goals were then brought in as far as your current, and then, it led into discussion as far as what changes based on the priorities identified.
What we accomplished from the goals that we had set, what we needed to fine tune, to change or update or whatever, and any new goals. And it's helpful, for us to have our goals so that then Patrick can react to those as part of his goals, rather than sort of the other way around, which, yeah, really isn't the best way for him to be able to do his goals if you can't tell him what we think is important for us.
I think it's a good way to at least start, kind of centers everyone rather than starting from what does everybody think
Yeah.
and then go from there.
That's it. Everyone says it. We're just kind of like, okay, I don't know.
So I think the survey aggregated is really good.
Yeah. So we'll get started on that.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next we have policies.
I had a general question about just something I read in one of them. That doesn't need to be changed. I'm just curious where you find the information. Just one in particular was about. Series 4140.
Yep.
It just talks about appropriate process set forth in the administrative procedures. So is that like the school handbooks where that's written in, or where do you find?
What's the name of the,
Policy.
This one is the reporting of sex discrimination or sexual harassment. It's on page 25. It was the 4140, I believe.
so.
Or no, 4310.
So for, so if, so we have, processes and procedures.
Yeah.
Some of those are in policies as regulations, and then some are as internal, processes and procedures. So if it's not in a regulation, and I'd have to look, it may be a regulation.
Well, this one, it says employees are encouraged to report complaints of sex discrimination promptly in accordance with the appropriate process set forth in the administrative procedure. So I'm just wondering like where that is.
So our entire administrative team has access to administrative procedure. So, so in this case, HR would have that as well, but we would all have access to it.
Okay, like, but I mean, would I be able to read it if I wanted to?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And you
yeah.
find it at the for HR.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, you could email honestly with Jessica because it involves policy, but we, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there should be.
I don't need it, but
Yeah.
just like if I ever, like, you can get it. You-
But in that case, like anytime there's a complaint, we have a form for that as well, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that's why I thought the form was part of the
Yeah.
policy.
Yeah, the form is in there. This was just like the appropriate process set forth by the school itself. So I was just curious, what our standard is for how like prompt, when you say promptly, it's that. Do you have 2 weeks? Do you have 2 months? I was just curious what our procedure was.
Now, I'll tell you so the procedures are also following like the language of Shipman and Goodwin. So depending on like in this case, like defining promptly, it would be like whatever language they handed down at. I couldn't tell you offhand, like if it is defined or not in that procedure.
Okay.
It may be, I just offhand,
Okay. Thank you.
Any question? Okay, so that was,
Yes.
1200.
Yeah,
You have more questions on that one or on another?
I have another one.
Okay, so let's go to 4140, non-discrimination. Which is the next one. It is page 16. Lower right hand corner. There you go. I know, it's a lot.
Sorry, I didn't sleep last night, you guys. I was up all night working on production support issues, so I'm already it's all over.
No, that's all right. It's complicated. I mean, it's just, and it's two-sided, so one runs into the next one and it's all right. Any questions on that one? 4140. These are the first reading, correct?
Correct. I know it was a while ago, but I sent an email to the board as part of the packet when it went out in July 22nd. I know that was over a month ago. But in there, the revisions were all recommended by Shipman Goodwin. They were reviewed by BPR subcommittee. It was in January. I did put in that correspondence that the subcommittee did approve forwarding the recommended revisions to the full board. As you can see, there's a number of policies. It just took time to prepare the policies for the full board. And certainly wish I got them to you sooner, but as you can imagine with budget season, some other things going on, there was just some higher priority matters that required attention throughout the conclusion of the school year. So the vast majority of the revisions are semantic in nature. They weren't substantial. They were just updated language. Again, recommended by the attorneys.
I think a lot of this, Patrick, is really, these are statutes that, the state, so this is not,
It's going to be another run and we're going to get like, you usually find out what those are in October.
Yeah.
And then we'll bring them forward to
Yeah.
BPR in January and then we'll be back here again.
yeah.
And I mean, so it will be a continuous cycle.
Any other questions? We'll move on to 4310. Did you want to speak to that one, Patrick?
And honestly, it really isn't substantial changes. I mean, in some cases, it's changing from like the term board to the term district. So those are like, it's just one example of some of the language that was updated.
Any questions? 4350. Social media.
This is a newer one, right, Patrick? Social media.
No, we've had that. Yep, all these policies are updates. None of them are new.
Any questions? $43.60. BPR was hard at work in January. Page 31. Comments on that, Patrick?
No, nothing that's out of, I'm pulling them up now just to,
Yeah, I see the changes.
like, for example, like, the Office of, Civil Rights, it changed from being Boston to Washington DC. So the policy itself, like, as far as the intent behind the policy, is not changing. But it is updating like the location of the OCR office. So if someone did want to like, look up information or the, the correct address would be, listed.
So making substance.
No,
We still have an Office of Civil Rights.
we do, but, I don't know if one exists in Boston anymore, but the one that's referenced is Washington DC.
No other questions? We're on to 5250. There's a lot of page shuffling. Any questions on that? Fifty-two, 55. Policy regarding prohibition of sex discrimination and sexual harassment. And in parentheses, it says students. No questions? 5310. Administration of student medications in the schools. Page 53. Questions? Okay. 5400. $5,400 is confidentiality and access to education records.
Yeah, so I mean, I pulled this one up just now too, so, I mean, the changes are. Like like it references records, they added the word education before records. They changed the district to district with being a capitalized. Is entitled to, they changed that to may receive. Is in her to the eligible student.
Nothing of substance. Any questions, comments? Thank you. And the last one is 6170, personal access to instructional materials. Oh, parental, sorry.
That's what I do have a question. So all this stuff is posted on the website. And it is a lot.
I'll starting Daryl, what's on the,
Yeah, so we, there's.
So much.
Yeah, so basically it's an outline of every single course and every single grade level. There's an outline of that course.
Yeah.
And then if people were to say, could you give me more information? We could certainly do that. But I mean, that's pretty much like when I talked to my group
Yeah,
of,
and that's what they do.
and
Because it's just so much.
it's such a large amount of,
Yeah,
so it's really kind of the overall guidelines of everything we're covering.
each grade level.
Correct. By subject, by school.
It's all in there. Yeah, so Betsy, there was the only change to the policy is they added that sentence so that like what you're referencing, like beginning with the 26-27 school year is that each, then the board shall post objectives and scope. That's the only addition. Everything else was the same in that.
Yeah,
Obviously, that's a big deal, but
it's huge. Yeah, as far as all that stuff, it's huge. Yes.
but it's also the law. So like I've been like, so you,
Somebody's saying, I want to see what you're teaching in third grade. Come and visit a class.
Well, thank you for speed reading, everybody.
yeah, in the email, if anyone wants me to resend the email, I can. In the email, I gave a link to our current policies, what you have in the pack here, the new ones,
Okay.
just for those. So if you wanted to match it up, you
Oh,
could.
the other,
Yeah.
don't you?
That can't hurt to resend it.
Yeah.
That was quite a while ago.
Can I ask a question that's not related to our policy? Just a quick question. Do you mind? So, I'm seeing some things about our books lately, in our libraries. Have you, gotten any kind of, requests, about
I make certain books.
parents and sort of books? Not even bullying, it's, it's not speculative. I just didn't know. And is there an actual policy about how we handle those kinds of, requests or, yeah, you know what I'm saying? I'm saying.
We do have a policy as far as the material that's found in libraries. I don't know if our policies, I don't believe our policy speaks specifically to requests, but I'd have to go and take a look at it.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, if something comes up and there's a parent that has a real issue with some of the books in the library. What is our response?
Yeah, no, I understand where it comes from. I can't recall the last time someone's like
Actually
reached out
brought that
like,
up. Okay.
with a concern. Certainly not recently.
Thanks.
We've already taken care of all the new business, so we're on the liaison and subcommittee reports. With summertime, I don't think.
I met like halfway.
I was far, I was
Inside. Does that count?
It absolutely.
Okay, so we had a good meeting. We're gonna bring in Eversource this year. I got a contact so that they can bring the kids in for the lineman program. They do a really nice job with that. I've witnessed it. They do a day program, give them helmets, feed them lunch, give them the tour. It's usually up in Tolland, which isn't far. We talked about EV too, but she felt that that was too far. They're building 2 submarines now.
Yeah.
They're building multiple submarines. There's so much work there and they're going into the elementary schools, the 4th graders to tell them, hey, you got to pay attention to your grades because even if you don't want to go to college, you still got to have good grades to do trades, right? Electricians, HVAC, all that stuff is in high demand. $200 an hour for data center electricians, okay? There was, so, all right, we're bringing in Eversource. We also talked about bringing in New England Tractor Trailer too, because they provide education for truck drivers. We want to try and get more and Teamsters, get the Teamsters in to talk to kids that are interested in doing things that are not college related. I don't know if anybody listens to Bill Mayer, but there's a big issue with kids. He mostly projected it as men, our young men that are not in college and not working. Okay, and there's a lot of them. So I think what we need to do is really focus on the kids that maybe aren't interested in college, give them more opportunities. Anyway, so we talked about that because, New England Tractor Trailers is fairly close by too, if there are any kids interested in that. UPS drivers are making $177,000 a year. These are not bad jobs, seriously. And and we have to change the stigma. around this, because a lot of kids are going to college for liberal arts degrees. I have a girl that sits next to me and works. Her daughter has 2 degrees and she's 40 years old and she can't get a job, you know, so I don't know. We talked a lot about, what else did we talk about? Oh, HVAC, bringing in HVAC people too, to get in front of the students and talk to them about, you know, a day in the life of this kind of job, these kind of opportunities. Yeah. And again, New London's going after, you know, targeting the kids in elementary school. And I don't think that's a bad idea, you know, getting them interested in things. And I don't know, you know, what that would take, but just planting the seeds even in junior high, you know, maybe not waiting just for the last 2 years of high school, you know, where kids have already decided I'm not going to college, you know, but what am I going to do? You know, they still have to pay attention to grades. That's really important, you know, even if they don't want to go to college. I think that statement needs to be, you know, communicated so they don't feel left out, you know, and show them more options. That's all. That was in July and the next meeting is September 26th.
Awesome.
That's all I got.
Sounds really interesting.
Yes.
Really interesting anecdote to that. I understand that the Crystal Mall
Mhm.
is being turned
Yes.
into housing
Yes.
for apartments for EB.
Yeah.
They're gonna keep the crystal, they're gonna keep the
Oh, are they?
Yeah,
Good.
the
Good,
big
good.
chandelier, but yeah.
Good, good. Yeah, I worked at Pfizer and EB in the past, and I know it's far. Barb said that she thought it was too far to get the kids there, like during the day kind of
Yeah.
thing, but they're also attracting, the trades, you know, the trades are really, and nobody's gonna outsource trades. And the other thing is that kids need to keep in mind is AI is coming. And I used to talk at Berlin High for, you know, women in IT and encouraging coding. I won't do that anymore because I don't really feel personally that, you know, there's not going to be the same opportunity and AI is going to take over coding. I mean, I have friends that teach it in college and they're saying the same thing, you know, so trying to prepare for jobs that aren't going to get outsourced. You know, I'm in IT and I work at Eversource, but my team is all in India, you know? So those are the things, AI and outsourcing, finding a job that you have a future, you know, that's not gonna get.
And certainly college is important for some,
College is
it's
important,
not for everybody.
but if you don't know what you want to do,
Yeah.
it's really hard to market yourself with a liberal arts degree and you know, and a $80,000 student loan, you know, and that's the thing that if you got a trust fund, then
In the
fine.
end,
What?
in the end, more than 80, right?
I'd like to recruit her for the curriculum council.
This is my passion, in case you haven't noticed.
Everything you said is like some of the work that we're doing. So it's wonderful. I'm glad that you're so invested in it because
And
it's.
Barb's excited too.
Oh, yeah,
She's
yeah.
great to work with. She really is.
No, I'm loving hearing you talk because there's a lot of good there.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So maybe here's another thought, to the future for the two of you is, environmental sciences.
Mhm.
Because if we look at the world, it's burning right now.
Yeah.
It's burning and
Yeah.
it's melting and people are dying and drowning in Nepal. and
Right,
It's
right.
horrific
Yeah.
and we need to really start addressing some of that. So whether we
Build
Yeah.
excitement there.
build excitement
Yeah.
about, you know, saving the oceans because that's a disaster.
Right.
Or the woods or, you know, anything and everything that is associated with the environment because we are
Ruining our.
by a cliff,
Jumping.
not over it
Yeah.
already. So
No. Yeah.
Sure. Excellent. Anybody else?
Not nearly as exciting. That was a really nice presentation. At the Board of Selectmen meeting, they did appoint the team members to the ad hoc committee, which was Heather and Jason. And then the local prevention council actually did a really cool, which I didn't get to see that packet, which was probably in there, but they did a really good presentation. And brought in like a cool backpack that was filled with like 90% fake stuff that parents don't realize kids are using, it was like pens like this that, you know, real Sharpies that work, but you could twist them over, open. I don't know if they do any, like if we offer that to parents in the school, but it would be kind of a cool thing. I couldn't believe how much stuff was big. Cups, notepads,
What are they used for if they're fake?
hiding like whether it's some of them, I'm assuming it's like hiding drugs or their vapes or whatever it might be, but they look like everyday items that are probably just sitting right on their desk.
Right in front of you.
Right in front of them, but it was something they did for parents. It didn't sound like it was something they were offering within like our school district, but I feel like parents would like learning about it. I don't know how much we can do with them as a group, but.
It would be a good thing. And then when you look at like just parents understanding that you really shouldn't be hosting alcohol parties at your home, even though you think you're doing a responsible thing and keep kids safe.
Don't even have a party and say no alcohol because they're gonna bring it anyway.
Yeah, that's
That's right.
That's what athletic suggests, and you can buy it right off of your spouse. That's wild.
Yeah, so parent stuff might be really interesting.
They do,
They had something, they do come, I mean, like we said, because they were a part of getting the washers and dryers, they helped,
Yep.
that's something they do. I just don't know if they do that presentation in school.
Council?
Yeah,
Yes, they've talked about doing that.
okay.
For parents?
Yeah, I think it would be great.
It's only for parents.
Yeah.
They don't let kids into it.
They don't want to get, no, I think it would be great.
If they don't know, don't show them.
Don't show them, no, definitely not.
Oh, I didn't know we could do that.
Yeah.
Parents and board members, I'd be interested to see some of that.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you. I give you a quick rundown of the finance subcommittee meeting, but we already had it, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are in such a positive, different place than we were.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it's like run like professional.
yeah, like a business. Thank you. Thank you, Ryan and
what you do.
Patrick. That's a lot of work and it shows. So thank you.
Appreciate it.
Still have no public. All right. Miscellaneous. Anybody have miscellaneous?
But just one thing in terms of the SRO officer, I understand that.
Oh, yes.
It was announced and that's fabulous. And, I've been wondering about that. So apparently somebody's going to come on board in September.
He already started. He started this week. Officer Ryan Pattern.
Oh, great.
He'll be with myself, Daryl, tomorrow morning, going around all the schools, welcoming them as they get off the bus in the morning.
Great.
He and I will do a tour of the schools following that.
Yeah.
So we're very excited. He definitely brings a high level of energy. He has some great ideas. He's, put it right out there. This is new to him, but he's looking forward to learning and being there for the kids and being obviously a partner and like a greater connection with the community and police department. They did change it to a 4-year position versus 3, so that like the freshman class you come in,
Oh,
you graduate with the class as well too. So the deputy chief has definitely put in some really good changes there as well too.
Do you think that we could ever have him come to a board meeting? I'd love to meet him.
Absolutely. Probably, we want to get
Yeah.
his feet wet first. So
Absolutely.
we've had that conversation.
Yeah.
We are going to put out a social media post as well. So that is in the works. But yeah, no, thank you for asking.
Yeah, thank you.
do you know if they have like special training, SRO training?
They do. So he has already, I don't know if he's done everything, but he was doing it a couple weeks ago. So,
In-house or is it?
no, he goes out. I think some of it's virtual too. Going out, some virtual. I don't think they do anything in-house with that.
Is that through?
I don't,
What
you could
agency?
ask, but I don't
I
know.
know the Department of Ed did it for a long time before. They did some SRA training. Well, yeah, they brought people in from North Carolina a long time. ago. That was a long time ago. I don't know where it comes from.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
Are we transitioning to Google Classroom? And if so, when that, I thought we were gonna do that and Power School was gonna disappear.
I don't know what you mean by it. So, I mean, we are Google, but we also use Power School, like, there's certain functions that Power School does that Google wouldn't be able to take over.
Okay, I don't know, cause
We use Google Classroom.
Yeah, those are two separate
are they?
platforms essentially.
So what does Power School do that Google like, I don't know.
So Power School is our student information system, so that's connected with the state. It's how you report all your demographics.
Okay,
It's what makes you eligible for certain grants, student counts, percentages of special ed. All your state reporting is through Power School.
then what's the new communication?
Parent Square.
Yeah, and what is that? How does that fit? I just want to understand how this all.
So we had School Messenger. It's, I would describe it as an antiquated means of communicating with parents.
Mhm.
I feel like this is more kind of like up to today's standards. As part of our professional development, all teachers did get initial training directly through Parent Square. Our administrative team, our secretaries have had training. There's also, they also have like a learning academy. I could tell you myself, I've actually done some of the modules. I put out some of my communication. There's a parent phone call I put out today. There was one earlier that included the Board of Ed as far as just a reminder back to school. But you certainly can, it has a number of functions as far as having like your own page, direct communication with parents. I mean, I'm still learning it. I mean, I know some are more familiar, especially ones that have come from other school districts and utilized it. But certainly it should be a stronger vehicle to support our communication and family engagement efforts.
Okay. The Power School is still, that's where you go.
Yeah.
For grades and assignments and watch your kids not do their homework.
It has a two-way communication thing too.
It does, yep.
That's kind of the nice feature of it. It's not just one way.
Yeah, if you download the app, you can almost use it like text messaging,
Yeah.
Okay,
you know.
cool. Okay. Very good. Okay. Any other miscellaneous? Nobody? Right, correspondence. The first thing is, the CAME conference. I know I'm going. Betsy, did you say you're going?
Gabby, that's a
Gabby. Oh, good. Great. National Night Out?
Yes, so I would say that was, I think originally when this was on, it was before National Night.
It was.
But I can report it was a success. Thank you, Denise, for joining us. We handed out over 100 popsicles to kids. We had nice school calendars. We handed out a large number of those, connected with many families, community members. Weather was great. It was a good success, a nice way to connect with both families and community prior to school opening.
When is the CAME convention?
November.
Usually the third week.
Do I have one of those?
Third week is
Yeah,
Friday.
you got it. I'm sure. I can always get it.
November 20th and 21st in Grafton.
Right, so-
Is it like a Friday, Saturday?
Yeah.
The Friday is the real day. I mean, there's a little bit on Saturday, but the majority of the, I've done both. I think last year I just did the Friday. I usually try to wait and see what the agenda is on to determine.
Okay.
Now, do we get, I'm sorry, just because I know as board members, we have to do a certain amount of what have you. So
Yeah, CUs, right?
is that like,
That counts.
I mean, that counts,
have
but if we don't, if I'm not able to go to that, like
Right.
You can go online and there's like online modules and those count too.
in CAME?
Yeah.
Yeah, came over us.
You can do them live. I don't know how many live they have. You sign up on, or there's recorded. You can do the recorded ones too.
Is anyone keeping track of that?
To my knowledge, no one keeps track.
Just curious.
No one polices it to my knowledge, but I believe it is, in legislation.
Yeah.
Unfunded mandate.
Yeah.
It's a good thing for pay.
Of course.
It's for us.
The CAPS. The superintendent mentor.
Yeah, so I have, Carolyn, Fink, she's a elementary principal in Farmington. She's pursuing her superintendent certification, so she is doing an internship with me. She did attend convocation. You will see her in attendance at some point at some upcoming, board meetings. I can tell you she has definitely a passion for kids, a passion for special education. And certainly, as much as it'll be a learning, opportunity for her, I think it'd be a learning opportunity for us as well too. So we embrace those types of.
She
positions.
elementary, Patrick or what?
Elementary principal. Yes. So at some point,
That's great.
yeah, so at some point she'll be here and I'll introduce the board to her.
The Garland roof study, which is a book all in itself.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just highlight, it's definitely a greater conversation in the near future, but in essence, there needs to be a sense of urgency to get a new school project for the middle school, high school to referendum in the next 12 to 14 months. So it's either new schools or purchase a new roof and continue to maintain our buildings for the next 20 years, along with the numerous problems and needs and costs. So, I mean, that's basically what it comes down to in a nutshell. Certainly, again, it's a greater conversation, but just highlight and just emphasize the urgency that it needs to move a project forward.
Not good news. We either put a cap on a deficient building or try to get a project passed by the voters, and neither is a good thing, but that's where we are. Confirmation of 2026-27 evaluation and support plan, which is this thing from the state of Connecticut, right? Yes.
Just means we're in good standing. We are required to notify the board. So it's in correspondence.
School district. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't understand what that was. Oh, memo to the Board of Finance on the class sizes.
Yeah, so Mr. Talamini from the Board of Finance, he had actually asked us on 2 occasions. The first time, complete honesty, I forgot about it. He reminded and
Again,
and so we did hand it out last Board of Finance meeting, so certainly felt like the Board of Ed should have that correspondence as well.
Did anybody from the Board of Finance? I wasn't able to make that meeting.
As well received.
Yeah. Oh, good. And finally, letter regarding grade 1 classroom placement.
Kind of spoke about that. Right?
Yeah. So,
Can I ask a question, Hendrik? So 20 kids in a class approximately, right? So we're able to do that, which is, within that. So, when the first grade teacher comes back, right?
She's out for the rest of the year, so that was part of the that was what so there's 2 parts. We knew the likelihood of finding a qualified, certified teacher would maybe challenge, or someone that meets our standards. And we were monitoring since we knew the enrollment about July, but sometimes you can, once you get closer, you have a number of families that register late. And so we held on as long as we could to feel secure about that decision making.
So she won't be back until next school year.
Correct.
So, and then it will depend, of course, on numbers again.
And then
And that would be just,
and
Yeah.
to be completely transparent. I mean, obviously, we're monitoring that, and that may be a budget reduction.
Yeah.
Going forward. So so that is something we are monitoring. To be clear, not her.
correct, I understand, yes.
But it would be, based on need and priorities.
Well, we're at the end, folks. You can have a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
By Courtney, seconded by
I wasn't at that.
Betsy. All those in favor? Opposed? Stay sitting down. Thank you all. This was,